Hey everyone, Case Hits Collectibles here with another Gundam update video. I wanted to kind of go through some of the singles. I know we've been focused mostly on the sealed boxes, and you guys know I feel that, you know, $80-$90 a box I think is a great opportunity for you to pick up some of those boxes, rip them open, chase some of these cards, build decks, have some fun with. I think it's just a no-brainer to grab those boxes at 80-90 bucks. But I want to talk about some of the different cards that are available for Gundam, because actually, I mean, I believe that some of this artwork is just absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the few games that I'm actually going to continue to collect the singles in addition to buying, you know, sealed boxes of each of the sets. So just looking at this, if you're not too familiar, I'm sure most of you watching this are pretty familiar, but you know, I'm going to focus kind of like on the alternate arts, full arts, the pluses, right? But I'm going to show examples throughout of all the different types of varieties, and then some of the cards that I believe that are worth picking up are not really not like speculative plays, but just like I think the artwork's great. I think the quantity available is low enough that like shows that it's like high in demand and it's like not going to be that common to pick up, etc. And to preface this, also, you know, a lot of the cards that people are going to want to pick up as the box prices increase, you know, like take New Type Rising, for instance, not very many people are going to be opening $350+ boxes. You know, from that 100 to 150 range, most people buying boxes are probably going to go ahead and rip them and have some fun with it and chase cards, because that price is like, there's no like very low cost. And if you hit something big, you know, you're going to win. When you start getting up to 350, even if you hit an LR plus, right? Like you're only like, you know, looking at like $1,000 card. And that's the best hit possible, right? So as the prices go up, people are less and less inclined to open the product, and they'd rather just keep it sealed as kind of like a long-term investment or something. So my point with that is that when you see these things with low quantities like this right here, Chistria with 7 listings for $90, so you can see like it doesn't like popularity and playability are going to be the bigger drivers at first, but it's also going to come down to like how challenging are these cards to pull. Are they more or less common than other cards in the same set? So right here we have 9, you know, what are 7 listings, right? Looks like 3, 6, 9, so probably about, you know, let's call it 15 different quantity available. 7 listings, about 15 available. It says 23, so let's go with that. And you know, this is a card that you're not going to see a lot of supply continue to enter. So when I'm looking at these, like kind of which cards do I want to put into my collection, it's not like it's not necessarily just focused on like a money thing. Like I'm not collecting cards because I think, oh, they're going to go up in value really soon. Like, no, that's not my plan. It might be yours, it's not mine. I look for cards that like have amazing looking artwork that I think will look beautiful in a binder or a collection. I don't really grade too much. I typically just buy raw cards and then throw them into a, you know, a slab, like my own kind of like plastic, you know, mini snaps, or throw them into binders. But like I look at these and I go, okay, what would this card look like, you know, like in person, or if you can go see them in person, it's going to be beautiful. So the more colors, the better pose and like action style of the Gundam is what I'm looking for. You know, there's some of those like more basic styles where like it's just like the head of the Gundam or something. That's not what I look for. I look for really just like these amazing artworks where you can see the Gundam and you can see, you know, the mobile suit in its like, you know, attack or defensive postures. I think those are pretty awesome, pretty badass. I'm a big fan of like wing, you know, the basic wing and freedom Gundam. So I do focus on those. Like this card, for instance, you know, imagine this thing. It's going to have absolutely gorgeous details. And just to kind of show you how this plus system works, system works. I'm not going to talk about promos today. Promos will be another video. Promos are super hard to get, but amazingly valuable on some of the higher ends one. But so for instance, you know, basically same card effects, same everything, except for the artwork will be an alternate artwork, better, you know, not necessarily better style, because honestly this LR looks pretty sick. But you know, that's how you do it. You kind of go through and you can see that the, you know, the plus version or the plus version will just simply be derivatives of the other ones. I will say though, if you're an LR plus collector, like LR plus, I think is like a really great entry space into this. Why I kind of started with this. You can get a lot of beautiful Gundam artwork for. I mean, these are high quality cards. You know, like a little bit of the etch foiling, the great foiling, all the different colors, great card quality. They look fantastic, but you can get a lot of these, you know, LR pluses for $20 to $15 even. I've got a few more on the way. Just great looking cards all around. I mean, look, you got some LR pluses down here. Again, playability is going to drive prices for a lot of the cheaper cards. Cheaper cards are pushed in value based on playability. Mid and high tier cards are pushed based on collector demand or just, you know, like enthusiast demand or speculator demand even. So that's kind of how you can tell what's going on here. But just look at the listings as well. 54 listings on something that's $5, you know, that's not going to move anytime soon. 90 listings on something that's $15, right? So find the style that you like. For me, again, it's these like amazing action poses, like, you know, stuff like that. Well, it's gonna, I know this colors are gonna pop and they're gonna be fun. That's what I like putting into my collection. So again, it's not about the dollars. It's just about like having really cool representations of the different mobile suits throughout the you know, the entire series. So pretty awesome right there. So there's an example of that. Another one are rare pluses. Don't sleep on rare pluses. Some of these have tremendous value. Again, you know, kind of pushed by playability and then popularity. But like, you know, Red Gundam here, rare plus, you know, 54 listings, $50. You know, it's really cool. Again, I think a lot of people kind of want to go to like the legendary rares, like the highest, you know, quality card that we have to get. Some of these are absolutely sick artworks as well, so don't sleep on the rare pluses. Again, same kind of thing. I pulled up Merida Cruz here. It's the same thing. You got the rare, you got the R plus, and you'll have the different, you know, varieties of the artwork. Not that anything's wrong with the original, but like I just think the second one is so cool. Them piloting in the Gundam in the background, like I think that's so sick. So very cool stuff here. A lot of fun. Don't sleep on the rare pluses either. There's some really great cards to pick up. And again, you can see how some of these get pushed up in value. So if I'm looking at this right here, right, I got Saluda Mercury. I'm not a big fan of this kind of style artwork. I'm not a huge fan, honestly, of the EB01 chibi style artwork either. I really would prefer, like, I'm hoping, since we only have like half the EB01 set, really, like only like 91 cards have been spoiled. And most of these sets are like 198 to 205 cards. I'm expecting like another half of that set to be released soon. And then in that situation, I would expect that we're going to see some non-chibi style cards and some beautiful, hopefully beautiful LR pluses and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I will say right here, Graceful Demeanor. I think this card is actually really nice. I like the actual like hand-drawn style colored card. I think this is awesome, more so than I like kind of like this computer-generated anime style. So that's pretty sick to me as well. That might be one like Graceful Demeanor you might pick up in the future, just because it's such a unique looking card to me. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. Those are pluses. Again, I'm looking at like, if I'm like worried about, if I had to choose kind of which card I want to put in my collection first or second, right? If I really like the artwork, let's say I really like Shenlong Gundam. If I really like the artwork and there's only 17 available, and I also like, let's look at Unicorn. Like I like Unicorn, but there's 38 available. In my mind, I'm going to go ahead, like if I had a limited funds, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Shenlong first, simply because there's less listings available. And because people are going, like, as sets get older, people just stop ripping them. It's just the truth. People stop ripping older product. They start focusing on the new product, you know, new varieties of cards, etc. So for a collection, you know, I kind of look at like scarcity. Like, is it going to be available in a month or two? I don't know. Like 5 listings. If you really like Duo Maxwell, you know, 5 listings, like this card is not going to be available very soon. Again, if that's your thing. Awakened Potential, a great card as well. You know, I think there's a higher version, but yeah, it's you know, it's one of those things like they're not going to be around forever when they have low quantities available. Then you look at something like V-Dash with 60 listings, right? You get my point. I think I've beat the dead horse here, but you know, find ones that you love the artwork that are pretty rare. So LR plus is like, this is the focus of me in my collection is LR pluses, but just looking at some of the rare pluses, I wouldn't sleep on. I do think Graceful Demeanor is one I'm going to have to pick up soon, because I think that looks really cool. All right. And this was just, again, an example. So here, even U plus uncommons, again, even some of these uncommons, like people are really desiring these uncommons now, getting more and more into sort of that playable, like deck blinging type stuff. When you get to these, like the uncommons and common pluses, obviously this is just a little bit more accessible for players to put into decks and build out around. Like right here, Overflowing Affection. I mean, come on. Overflowing Affection, beautiful card. Here's the different varieties of that versus the uncommon versus the U plus. I mean, come on. You can see why this card's so valuable. Beautiful artwork. Like, you know, I hate to say it, like what it is, but with TCGs, anytime you have a female character in a pretty pose with skin showing, you guys can do your own logic there, but they seem to sell really, really well in all TCGs. You figure it out for yourself. But yeah, there you go. So that's the again, the uncommons. I just want to point out that there's just a lot. There's so much to collect in Gundam, and it's kind of like One Piece. Like, if you guys don't know, I was collecting One Piece for a very long time, for years now. I've got a bunch of like SPs. I had a couple of mangas. I don't have the mangas anymore. I sold them, but a couple SPs. I have a bunch of the different varieties, you know, the alternate art starred cards, that of all the different Luffy's and such that I've been collecting over time. So I got a pretty cool One Piece collection, and I'm just started collecting Gundam because, you know, it's just badass, man. Like, who doesn't like the mobile suits and the wars? I mean, we've all played like Mech Warrior stuff growing up if you're my age. So just kind of getting into it. Anyway, let's move on to the big dogs, LR plus pluses. So currently, up until GD05, guys, there's been 2 LR plus pluses. These are the creme de la cremes, right? These are the top dog case hit chases, you know, a lot of the channel case hits, right? These are the chase hits of Gundam. There are also obviously promos. We'll talk about promos later, but for all intents and purposes, like, these are the cards that people are really, really seeking right here. Oh, so good. So good. $4,100. You know, you've got this one's different. Like, got like the gold etching. These like will have like the gold text, name, full, like all the etched foiling artwork, just stunning gold highlights. Like, these are just absolutely stunning cards. They are the cream chase of these sets, and so far there've been 2 per set. You can look: Phantom Aria 2, Dual Impact 2, Steel Requiem 2, and New Type Rising 2. All right. Different values. I made my comment last video about like anything between $300 to $500 seems to be like a fair price for these, and I'm sorry, but like, somebody went in there and bought all of them that were under $500. So I don't know if that was me or somebody else. I don't think this channel gets that much like impact in the world, to be honest, but I will say that, like, after my video, they all sold, so they're all like $1,000. So if that was an impact, I apologize if you were trying to get one of these. I'm still trying to get some LR plus pluses. I just, $1,000 is out of my price range, but 300 I will probably pick up one. No, so I'm bringing up the LR plus pluses. Also, here's an example of like, okay, Gundam Barbados. So you can see that there's all these, not the third form, but like first form 1, there's the LR base, which is still a pretty badass card, to be honest. The LR plus, awesome looking card as well. I mean, for me, I kind of like the LR plus artwork better than the LR plus plus, but like, you can't beat the rarity. Anyway, 8 listings, $1,300, beautiful card, all that gold foiling and stuff. Oh yeah, so good. Anyway, that's what the LR plus plus is. Again, you can see how that chain of events goes up, and then as they get the different alternate arts and such for the different pluses. So yeah, these are, as of right now, there's been none listed on EB01 coming up. All right, and Eternal Nexus, and I think that there's going to be at least 2 in Eternal Nexus. That's my gut. I don't know if anybody's explicitly come out and said that there won't be any LR plus pluses, but it doesn't make sense to me. I looked at One Piece. Every single EB product from One Piece has like SPs. They have mangas. They have beautiful cards. They have the super high-end chases, right? These are comparable to mangas to me from One Piece, and I don't see why they wouldn't make their, you know, that's their like premier product. The EB products and the PRB products are like their premier products, their anniversary products, stuff like that. They're going to be good. That being said, GDO5, right, Freedom set, they have already said that there's going to be 5 LR plus pluses coming out in the Freedom set, GDO5. So that's going to be crazy. I'm hoping that because there's 5 of them, it's going to make less of each available on the market. But I'm hoping because there's 5 of them, like, I might be able to actually snag my first one for like under $300. I hope. We'll see. Anyway, I'm super excited about the LR plus pluses. I'm very excited about EB01, even though I don't like the cheapy artwork. I have faith that Bandai is going to put some kind of amazing card in those sets. So we'll see if I'm right or wrong. All right, and then finally, resources C++. I don't think this is something that should be ignored. There's only 50 listings, so, you know, if you're gonna like bling out your resource decks, you're gonna need these. There's, you know, obviously the different versions. I went ahead and pulled it so you can see all the different resource versions. So you have the common, resource, basic, blah, right? You have the C plus and you have the C plus plus. You can see the different highlights and stuff coming on here. So there are going to be blinged out. Every set has their so far, every set has had their common resource plus blinging. I would imagine EBO1's going to have maybe more than one type. That'd be pretty cool if they had like maybe action pose resources. I don't know. We'll see. And then obviously, I think GDO5, GDO6, etc. is going to have their C++. So that's been the formula so far. We'll see if the anniversary set, like Freedom set, changes anything in the future, or if that's just going to be a one-off. But 5 LR plus pluses. Maybe there's going to be more than one C++. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I can tell you, like, the cards are sick. I'm super excited to collect all these different types of cards. I'm building out my binder slowly but surely, primarily of LR pluses, but we're gonna dig into some of these other ones. And yeah, anyway, that's what I'm looking at. Cards are super cool. Not very many listings, right? So if you want one of these, like, probably start looking more seriously, you know, the first month or so from set releases and picking up cards that you want, because as this game grows and as the attention comes to this game, you know, if people aren't opening product as much, you know, there's thousands of boxes sold every set, 4,000 plus boxes sold of every set. So the people are playing and collecting this game, but eventually, you know, they're going to stop populating these cards if people start paying attention. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great day. I'll talk to you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, get out there and collect some Gundam. Peace.